What's going on, Jerome's? Your Minnesota Vikings are 3-0. Slinging Sammy Darnold has risen from the ashes and looks like an MVP adjacent candidate. Vikings balling out both sides of the ball and special teams, and head coach Kevin O'Connell fed the local media jackals on Wednesday ahead of their showdown against the Greasy, Grimy Green Bay Packers up in Lambeau Field. First day of practice will be today, and I will say this, hat model game, not on point. Not every day is a Super Bowl, I guess. So there you go. But he had some stuff and some things to talk about. First off, he gave props to John Grenard, 3-sack game, NFC Defensive Player of the Week, and absolutely fantastic. Another amazing free agent signing by Greasy adofo-mensah, as well as Brian Flores. Love him, man. But a couple takeaways. Jordan Addison with the ankle, Diamond Dallas Turner with the knee, and Ivan Pace Jr. with the ankle and the quad. All will be practicing in some capacity today, so it's hopeful. And yeah, it would be great to have all three back on Sunday against the Packers, obviously. Also injured, TJ Hockenson. Kevin O'Connell praised leadership both on the practice field, in the meeting rooms. Hawkinson's presence felt even when on PUP. And that's like, too, like some players, when they're on PUP or IR, they're just gone, right? They're just sort of going through the motions. They're in the training table. They're off on the side things. And sometimes they don't feel a part of the team, so they don't put that effort to be a part of the team. Hawkinson's different. And you see that. He's in the thick of things. He's talking to guys on the sideline. He just doesn't have the sunglasses on and spitting sunflower seeds. He's active in those meeting rooms. And Kevin O'Connell also said that he's progressing really well, come back from that torn ACL, thanks to Dirty Kirby Joseph. Yeah. So I do think that, you know, Hockenson is probably going to be back week 7 against the Lions. He is eligible to return after the Packers game, so could be up for the London game against the Jets. But now you got the bye week coming up. Plus, narratives-wise, just taking on the Lions and his former team and Kirby Joseph one more time. That makes sense, man. Also, slinging Sam Darnold. So basically, he was asked, like, why is Sam Darnold working out here when he didn't work out anywhere else? Also, you know, Sam did have a decent start in Carolina before fading, but they went through self-scouting and scouting of Darnold. Like, why did Darnold fail elsewhere? Was it simply infrastructure, play calling? Joe Brady wasn't ready with the Panthers. It looks pretty damn good with the Bills now, but of course Josh Allen's going to make any OC look good. Also, was he pressing because he had to? Like, was this a clear spot where the Panthers got down multiple scores and Darnold had to really press and try to make up some ground? And when you do that, you can make mistakes. And in the stat book, it looks the same, but they don't take into account leverage of the situation, leverage of the game, as well as game script, etc. But he's been great since he's been here. Totally present, very impressive. Also, his fundamentals and mechanics show up on the tape. So everything that they've worked on throughout OTAs, training camp, etc., showing up on the field. Also talked about how the communication, you know, back and forth, and you really shouted out Bobby McCain again about giving them looks in practice, and then McCain giving feedback. Well, if you do this, it'll be like this, but it'd be better if you do that, sort of thing. And I've said this before. I love how both sides of the ball, they're open with communication. There isn't a rivalry like there is with a lot of teams where offense versus defense, etc. There truly is feedback and synergy and other corporate buzzwords going on, because this is a team, no matter what side of the ball you play on. But shouted out the Packers, you know, tough opponent, divisional game coming up, and you don't really need to say much more than that. Like, it is going to be a tough-ass football game. The Packers would absolutely love to poop in the Vikings cornflakes, so yeah, they're going to bring it, man. Also, it talked about how now the national media DeBron haircut's coming around, you know, top 5 in a lot of power rankings, sometimes top 3, and they're not 3. And basically, his message to players is to stay grounded. And we said this before, but here's the secret. Like, players say, you know, we're just focusing one day at a time, trying to stack up good practices. They read everything in the media, or they're generally aware of everything in the media, social media, etc. So I'm not worried about this team getting a big head about themselves, like, oh, they're saying nice things about us in the press. Because, hey, if you're paying attention now, you definitely paid attention before the season and during the offseason when jabronis were picking you to have the #1 overall pick in 2025. Predicting you to be at the bottom of the NFC North. Yeah, if you read the headlines positively, you read the bad ones too. All right, so they know. And I feel like even though at its core, this is a youngish team. I know by average they're older, but there's a lot of outliers on this team. You look at Jones, Harrison Smith, Andrew DePaulo, definitely. But and I will say that this team, like, they will be grounded, right? And I do think that Kevin O'Connell and Flores have given out a great message. You know, be where your feet are. I mean, that's something that comes up over and over and over again. And they do have a foundation here where they can handle success, they can handle adversity. That's going to be really good. And, you know, keeping that narrow focus instead of reading headlines. And also, I do think it's a huge part of the culture because, you know, players are smart, they're tough, they love football, they love their teammates. And if players were going to get a swelled ego because some national media jabroni haircut saying a few good words about them, or basically isn't talking bad about them, like, they wouldn't be here. Right? They would not fit in with the culture here with the Vikings that O'Connell, Kwesi, and Flores have built. Also, of course, the unavoidable storyline this week is Aaron Jones returning to Green Bay. But, you know, talked about Jones, already been spectacular. And he has been the standard. He's been a true leader on and off the field. That's fantastic. Plus, last one. So Will Rockford, Will the Thrill, you know, banging that 58-yarder against the Texans. And I forget who asked it, but the reporter was really funny. He's like, so Vikings coaches have had a love-hate relationship with kickers, and some of them have had hate-hate relationships with kickers. It's just like, I don't know how Zimmer keeps catching strays, man. But also, he sort of started that with that whole Star Tribune diatribe. But yeah, but he talks about how, you know, Riker does have this inner confidence, and I do think that him kicking for Nick Saban, Alabama, like big time games, high leverage spots, like, it doesn't faze him, and he does. I actually think his demeanor helps because, you know, if he misses one or doesn't strike one perfectly, he's just going to move on, and that's what makes me feel pretty comfortable about Riker. Is he going to make every single kick? No. But will he recover from mistakes and not let things spiral? Yes. I think that he does have that mental makeup and DNA to be able to do that. Plus, O'Connell's talking about how in practice, this is interesting, like in training camp specifically, where they would have drills where he would just randomly call for field goal unit. So Riker didn't even know when he was going to be out there, so he had to be ready whenever he was called upon. And I think that's really good from the kicker's perspective because, yeah, sometimes the team's driving, especially if it's the last drive of the game, like, you can mentally prepare to go out there and do it, but just doing it now. Oh, we're in an offensive third down drill now, first down drill now. I think that's really smart. So again, all these small, like, things that Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores do, just really interesting, and I think that it shows up in the final product. So we're really good to go. But that's it. Kevin O'Connell's press conference on this beautiful Wednesday ahead of Packers week. Packers. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.